Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is part 1 of my Christmas series 2020. If you are new here and you like farmhouse budget-friendly decor DIYs, I hope you will consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell notification. And if you enjoyed today's video, please like, comment, and share with your friends. I'm going to show you how I created these 4 decor pieces for Christmas using items from Dollar Tree and Dollar General. So let's get started with our first project. I am using this sign from Dollar Tree that says Harvest Blessings, and this is going to become a 2-sided sign so you can use for fall and Christmas. And I'm also using these window clings that I purchased from Dollar General for $1. So once I remove the hanger from the sign, I'm going to paint the back side of the sign with 1 coat of my Waverly chalk paint in white, trying to be a little meticulous not to get it on the other side so that I can use this as a reversible sign. Once that paint has completely dried, I'm going to dry brush over it with my Waverly chalk paint in mineral and a very hard bristled brush. And I'm just going to dry brush over that to give it more of a wood grain effect, because the window cling that I'm using has a nice wood grain inside of the little window cling. So once that has completely dried, I'm going to take my matte Mod Podge and apply it where I want to put my window cling. And I try to make sure I put a generous but even coat on there. And then place the window cling on top of that Mod Podge, and you can move it around some before it gets tacky. And then once you get it where you like it, smooth it out, make sure you get all the wrinkles out, and then go back over it with Mod Podge to seal it in. And if you missed any spots, you can just peel that up and put the Mod Podge under it to make sure that it stays in place. And I'm also going to add some snowflakes to this that are on that window cling as well. And I'm going to use the same process, applying the Mod Podge to the areas that I want to put these snowflakes, and then putting Mod Podge over top of that to seal them in. So once I get all my snowflakes in place and get my sign exactly the way I want it, I'm going to go over the entire sign with the Mod Podge so it'll have a nice, even, consistent look. Then to decorate the outside, I am going to add some silver tinsel cord that I purchased from Dollar Tree, but you want to do this after all your Mod Podge dries completely. So now that it has dried, this is how the Christmas side looks, and this is how the Thanksgiving side looks. And this is the silver tinsel cord I was speaking about from Dollar Tree. It's just like a silver rope. And I thought that this would look really well on both sides, so that it would look nice and cohesive when you turned it around, so that it would match very well. And I'm going to apply that meticulously around the sign using hot glue, making sure that I put that around all of those grooves so it'll have a nice consistent look. And then once that is completed, I'm also going to use the same tinsel cord to create a hanger for this sign. So this is what I meant when the silver side looks really good on the Harvest Blessing side as well. So to add the hanger, you could drill these holes a little larger if you like, but I just used a sharp tool and just pulled those through, double knotted it on the back, cut the excess off, and used my glue to secure that down so that it wouldn't move. And then once all of that is in place, this is how it turned out. I think it's gorgeous. I love this sign, and I hope that you guys like it as well. Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this sign. For the second project, I'm using another fall sign from Dollar Tree. This is in the shape of a mason jar, and I am going to make this a reversible sign as well, using some window clings again from Dollar General, using Let It Snow and the Snowman. So I'm going to remove the hanger, and then I'm going to give the back side, which will become our Christmas side, 1 coat of paint in my Waverly chalk paint in Truffle. And then once that has completely dried, I'm going to use the Waverly chalk paint in white to distress it. And I don't bother painting the top part of the mason jar because I'm going to cover that up with something different. So to distress it with the white, I do go very heavy-handed on it because I want it to have a nice distressed look and not so dark. Once I decide where I want to put my window cling, I see that you could still see the dark through the snowman. So I'm just going to use the white Waverly chalk paint, lift that up and paint it exactly where the snowman is going to be. And then make sure that that paint has completely dried before I lay it on there again to make sure I have it exactly where I want it. So I just put the window cling in place. I'm not going to attach it just yet because I'm going to put the Let It Snow sign on there as well. And I'm also going to use some of this buffalo check ribbon from Dollar Tree. Yeah. And then I just cut a length of that down, wrapped it around. I'm not going to secure that in place yet, but I just wanted to get an idea of exactly where I wanted to attach the window clings. And if you can see, the window clings have like a wood grain look to it. So I made sure that I lined those up with the snowman that has a little piece at the bottom as well. And then I applied that with Mod Podge, pushed any of the wrinkles out, and again went over the entire sign with Mod Podge. And I'm also going to use the Mod Podge to attach the ribbon at the top. So once I push that down in place, I'm going to go over top of that with the Mod Podge and set it to the side. And I actually let mine dry overnight before I cut any of the excess off because I didn't want the ribbon to tear. So once that has completely dried, I just took an X-Acto knife and went around the edges and cut all of that excess off except for the bottom piece because this is a wired ribbon. I used my wire cutters to cut those little wire pieces down so that I wouldn't tear the ribbon itself. Once I got all those pieces off, I took my sharp utensil and poked through the holes on the back so that I could create the hanger. And I'm actually going to create my hanger using some hemp rope, and I just feed it through one hole and then back through the other, giving myself enough length because I wanted it to be a double handled hanger, if that makes sense. So once I pull it through, I'm going to pull the hanging portion in the back up and then get enough length and cut that down so that those two will match. Then I'm going to tie a knot right there about the same length as the back hanger. I'm going to double knot that, and then once I get that knot, I'm going to take the excess and wrap it around the other handle and secure that down with hot glue so that it'll look like a nice rope handle at the top for both sides. So I'm going to just take that excess and go around both sides about the same length. So you'll see in just a second what I'm talking about, so it'll look like a nice double rope hanger. And then that way it'll look really nice for the fall as well as the Christmas side. So I'm just going to take that last little piece, secure that down with some hot glue, cut the excess off, and then this sign is completed. So this is how it looks on the Christmas side, and then this is how it looks on the fall side. So cute, so you can use it for fall and Christmas. And I hope you enjoyed this project as well. So for the third project, I'm going to be using a glass cylinder from Dollar Tree. And it's this nice tall glass cylinder. And I'm also going to be using some Mod Podge, the same matte Mod Podge, and two of the window clings off of the first project. I'm going to use the truck and then the tree with the deer. And I'm going to, again, put a heavy coat of Mod Podge, but yet make sure it's a nice even coat before I place the window cling down where I want it. And then once I get that in place, I'm going to smooth all the wrinkles out, go back over it with Mod Podge, and then I'm going to repeat this on the back side as well to put the deer, the tree, and a snowflake. And then I'm going to make sure that I go over the entire cylinder with Mod Podge on the outside so it'll have a nice frosted look when it is completely dry. So once all of that is in place, I do let mine set overnight again to let it dry completely. To make the lid, I'm using a wide mouth mason jar lid, some E6000, and some hot glue. And one of these wood beads from the Dollar Tree sign, I didn't have any beads this large, so I did take one off of this hanger. And I used the E6000 and the hot glue, and I put the hot glue opposite of where the E6000 is, and then place that in the center of the mason jar lid. And then I let that set for a right good while so that that E6000 would set up before I painted it. And then I did give it 2 coats of oil before I painted it. I didn't like the hole in the bead, so I do fill that with my Fast Dry Premium Spackling. And I just fill that hole in, smooth it out, and get any of the excess off. And then I'll let it set up, let the E6000 set up, and then that spackling set up before I painted it. So I'm painting it with Apple Barrel English Ivy Green in 2 coats. And this is how the cylinder looks once it's completely dried. It has a nice frosted look to it. And the lid fits perfectly on top of it. So now I'm going to be using some of these LED leaf lights from Dollar Tree, as well as some pine cones from Dollar General that you can get. I think it's 12 in a pack for $1. They do have little hangers on them, but I take all those hangers off and I remove the leaves from the lights before I put the batteries in. I do make sure my lights work before I secure the battery pack to the bottom part of the lid. And I'm just using some heavy duty tape, just centering that up to make sure I have it in the right place so that the lid will fit properly on top of the cylinder. So I do recommend that you go over that lid with some Mod Podge because you can scratch the paint off since it's metal. So I would definitely do that just to protect that paint. Then I just filled the cylinder up with pine cones and the lights. And this is how it turned out. I think this is adorable. This is definitely going on my end table in my living room. I really like how this project turned out, and I hope you did too. So for the 4th and final project of this video today, I am using these wood planks from Dollar Tree. You can get these in the Crafter Square section, and they come 6 in a pack. I'm also using 8 of the Tumbling Tower game pieces, Gorilla Wood Glue, and hot glue to make a nice centerpiece box. So I'm just going to lay my planks out so the 2 in the middle will become the bottom and then the other 4 will become the sides. So I apply the wood glue to the outside edge of the bottom piece, and then I'm going to butt that up to the side piece, and then to secure those in place, I'm going to take 2 of the tumbling tower pieces and put hot glue on the bottom and the side and press that up against the 2 pieces, trying to make sure that I keep that back piece straight, and then use those two tumbling tower pieces to hold it in place. And then I'm going to do that again for the other side so that I'll have these will become like the bottom and sides, and then I'm going to attach 4 tumbling tower pieces with the hot glue so I can have something to attach my side pieces to. Now these are not perfectly straight, so you do have to finagle with them a little bit just to make sure you get it lined up the way you want it and to make sure it's nice and square. So once I get all those in place and get it nice and square, I do take my hot glue and go on the inside corners, all 4 corners, and just run a bead of hot glue in there just to give it a little bit more stability so it doesn't come apart. And then I'm going to take some of the quart size paint stir sticks that I buy from Lowe's, and I'm going to cut those down to size, and I'm going to attach, attach those to the bottom using hot glue, just again to give it some more stability and also to give us a place to set the centerpiece, the styrofoam piece for our floral design. So once I have all that in place, I'm going to take some white Waverly chalk paint, and this is how it looks once it's all done and set up. And I am going to paint this on the outside as well as the inside side pieces with my Waverly chalk paint in white, and I only put 1 coat because I'm also going to distress this one as well. I don't bother to paint the inside of the bottom or the outside of the bottom because you're not going to see that, but you could certainly paint that if you wanted to. It's just, whatever you like to do. So I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in mineral and again heavily dry brush all the way around the outside edges to give it that nice wood grain look. Once that has completely dried, I'm going to take my matte Mod Podge and apply it to the front side, which is going to be the front side of the floral arrangement, and apply my window cling and then go over top of that with my matte Mod Podge to seal that in. Once that has completely dried, again, I'm going to decorate it. This is how it looks. Really cute. And you could put, some more window clings or anything on the sides if you wanted. I just wanted that one on there. So I placed my styrofoam block from Dollar Tree in the center, and I didn't bother to secure that down with hot glue or anything because I'm just going to take these wood stems from Dollar Tree, and you could use anything you wanted. You could use tissue paper or plastic bags or whatever to fill in, just to keep that styrofoam from moving around, but also so you don't have to use as many florals or pine cones to decorate it. So once I get those in place, I'm using these white fern bundle from Dollar Tree, and I cut that off of the bundle, cut the stems down, and then I just place that like one on each side, making sure that it goes outside of the box, and then a couple in the back. And then once I get those exactly where I want them, I do clean it because it is quite glittery, so I do make sure I get all of that mess up. And then I take one of these Christmas bouquets from Dollar Tree. I'm actually going to take two of these, and I'm going to pull them apart so they're individual pieces. And then I'm going to cut those down to size and just put them wherever I think they look best, just to fill in. And I'm just putting this into the styrofoam pieces. Before I completely fill it up, I'm going to use some of the pine cones from Dollar General, and again, just pull the strings off of that, and this is going to become the filler between the styrofoam and the box, and just go around and fill that in with the pine cones. And then I'll take the rest of the florals and pine cones from my bouquets that I took apart and fill that in. And then for the center of that, I'm going to use two holly berry bouquets from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut those down to size and place those into the center of the styrofoam. And then once I get those in place the way I like them, I'm going to take some of those extra pine cones and go around and set them on top of the styrofoam so that you won't see that. It'll be a nice filler so you won't see the styrofoam when you're looking at it. You won't see that styrofoam. Anyways, once I get all those pine cones in place, this project is complete, and I think this is gorgeous. I hope you like this centerpiece as well. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up, and if you have a favorite, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care, and I will see you next time.